We're relatively new to the city. We've been here for 5 years, but are very ambitious to be more of a presence and more known and more in the architectural dialogue. When MERS Project joined us, they were 5 people, and now they're almost 20, so they've clearly outgrown their space, and that's been very exciting. But when we thought about new office space, we were looking for something where we would be more visible in the Phoenix community. I think it's an exciting building because it is an icon within Phoenix, which is a relatively young city, and so how do you preserve that icon and almost reinvent it? So it was originally designed as a bank, and then it was inhabited by an engineering firm, and the man who owned the engineering firm actually owns the building. He's a champion of the building and preserving a piece of Phoenix's architectural history. So I think he too, as the owner, is excited to have an architectural firm inhabit the building.
This building will be 50 years old officially this year, so I think there's some amazing symmetry to us and an architecture firm that's all about kind of reintroducing itself to our community. It represents not only a time period for America, but I think a really important time period in the development of Phoenix. Midtown, what basically resulted from the fact that there was really cheap property up here. You had speculative developers creating high-rises that were kind of disconnected from downtown. And I think what we're seeing now is that downtown is starting to fill in, finally. That energy is going to spread northward along Central Avenue, and I think Midtown is kind of that next area of focus. I think this can be one of those landmarks that pushes the edge of what downtown really is.
Architects are responsible for their specific site, but I think we need to look at the interstitial spaces and how buildings connect to each other. And so it is our responsibility to look at more of an urban planning perspective and how we engage the community as opposed to just our specific building.
To me, what's really exciting about it is that it is a challenge of dealing with buildings that are mid-century. I think it's a really different challenge than what's sort of the typical restoration or renovation, which typically deals with buildings that are older than 1900. This is much more of a challenge, but it also deals with a much more contemporary challenge, I think, that our cities are going to face because there's so much of this period. And I think the danger is that we tear too much of it down and we don't really deal with it. One of the great things about old cities is that, not that they're old and not just the old buildings, but it's that they're sort of this tapestry and this sort of story of how they came to be.
Architects love to work in studio environments, and as wide open as it can be, it also needs to be balanced with some conference spaces and video conference and places to reflect. Just the sheer volume of it is really inspiring. It gets great natural light. So I think people are anxious to preserve the great bones, but also have it be pretty simple and have it be a pretty simple intervention.